Taking a Sunday bike ride on the Greenway bike trail. Extends from Coral Springs, the west end, all the way to the beach. Actually, I've never made it to the beach, but I don't know if I made it halfway. I don't know if you'd say that's halfway, but probably is. There it is right there, the Green Cypress Creek Greenway. So anyway, I just want to talk about someone that was an employee of ours. I wonder how the audio sounds with the wind blowing, huh? Windy day on Sunday, September 30th. Well, I'll have the wind with me on the way back anyway. Anyway, I want to talk about someone that we call Alex. And I don't want to say bad stuff about people. I'm just talking about bad things that have happened to me. Yeah, they're all disappointing. My own doing, my own stupid decision making, and you'll find that out when you hear this story. But so I was, our software company, you know, we develop software for the health club industry, and one of our customers out in Texas had an employee who was really good with the software. She knew how to run a health club, so she understood, you know, how to use the software to run a club. And she's very good. Her name was Lucretia, but we called her Alex. So anyway, one day I asked her, would you want to work for us? She said how things were terrible at the health club. Her boss was a real mean guy and wouldn't let her bring her son in, and she had no one to watch her kids. Anyway, Alex was very grateful for the offer. She took the offer. She lived out in Bowie, Texas. Yeah, I think it's named after the guy with the Bowie knife. They have a what do you call it there? Corral, what's it called? An arena, a bullfighting, not a bullfighting arena, horse, whatever you call that stuff, where they do the horse bucking and rodeo, there they go. Quiet little town. It's a dry county out there. You need to watch out, boy. I went out there, I was like, I need a Corona. She says, you're not getting a Corona here. It's a dry county. I had to drive to the next county to get a beer. Anyway, we flew Lucretia in from Texas to our home to meet Jessica and to get to know her before we embark on hiring her. And she's a very nice lady, you know, one of those Christian folks. Very nice, sweet gal. She's a little overweight, about 250 or so. I don't know, might have been more than that, to be honest, but I guess she had nothing to do out there but eat. It's quiet out there in Bowie, Texas. Anyway, so we hired her for the next year, and Jessica, we sent Jessica to Texas 2 years in a row during the summer for about 3 weeks or so, and she lived with them, and she had a great time with her and her kids. But actually that came later, because where she lived with her kids was a disgusting, just very ugly, disgusting house run down. I visited her, and I had stayed there because I was doing business in Dallas, and I had hired a company to write some software for us. So I had visited her, and they lived in the most run-down, beat-up, old, whatever you want to call it, house. It was just disgusting. Cockroaches everywhere. It was pretty nasty. So on my way home, flying back after visiting them, I was crying on the plane because I was imagining her two kids, and they were heavy kids. They were only like 10 and 12 at the time, and she was excited that her son that was 12 broke 200 pounds, which I'll never understand. You know, they came back from the doctor. She's like, hey, he's 200. I'm like, the kid's 12 years old. What are you doing? I don't know, whatever. They live differently out there. I'm not going to criticize it. So anyway, I'm crying on the way home on the flight back home because that house was worse than the apartment I grew up in. I grew up in a, you know, you go there today, they look like beautiful apartments, beautiful garden apartments in New Milford, New Jersey, beautiful green grass and trees. But when we were kids, they were beat up. My sister and I, the apartment was pretty beat up, and we had those cockroaches. You know, you wake up to that cockroach, you name him Charlie, you see him every day. But anyway, I saw many at her house when I was sleeping in the guest room and also in the bathroom. Oh God. So I'm crying on the way home, and I said to myself, you know, I just got divorced, and I was like, you know, maybe with this money I could buy them a home, and they'll have a better, it'll be an investment for me. I can sell it years down the road, and it'll be an investment for me. And or if she lives there forever, she'll be paying rent anyway. So I'll have equity, right? What a great idea. I could buy a house for one of my employees who's, maybe I could change their lives around. And that's the idea I came home with after that trip. And I told Bonnie about it, and she's like, I don't know. And I don't know, I just couldn't get the idea out of my head of being able to alter someone's life for the better. I thought I was going to be some kind of superhero. So I actually bought them a house in Bowie. It was a beautiful house. Me and Bonnie went with Jessica, we all fixed it up, and we went out to Walmart, and you know, they had a Walmart in town that just opened up. Bought all the stuff for the house, some nice piece of land, and it came with a tractor. Oh, it was awesome. It was a beautiful house. Well, in short, a couple years later, that lady, she was kind of slacking off at work, and she started dating a pastor in town, and one thing led to another, and all of a sudden she just vanished. She ran off with the pastor. 300-pound woman found a guy. I mean, there's a lid for every pot, right? She went out, left that house, hung me with the house. That I had put my whole life, every dime I had, into that house, thinking I was going to be, I don't know, thinking I was doing a good thing. That was the dumbest idea. That was the dumbest, second dumbest idea of my lifetime, or it's tied for first. The other one is, I'll tell you real quick, if you ever become the owner of a small business, never lower your prices. Stand firm. I lowered my prices 10% and even more on the low end for lower people on the smaller packages. And excuse me, in the course of the last 15 years, we've lost $1.2 million that we could have had in our pockets. And we are struggling every day in life. You know, that's an extra $100,000 a year. Dumb idea. I don't know why I did that. Just don't ever do that. Don't lower your prices. When you take over a company, don't think, oh man, what do I need all this money for? I mean, I could never spend that much money. That's what my theory was, because I'd never make more than $40,000 in my life. Now all of a sudden I'm making 120. And we were going up to 180, 200, 250. And I'm thinking, how I can afford to give up 10%. Wow, that backfired. So anyway, that decision and this decision of buying this house were the two dumbest decisions of my life. Cost me everything that I ever owned. The company decision cost me over $1 million over the last decade, 15 years. And this house took away all of my investment money that I had, every penny. Anyway, I bought the house for $87,500, and after she up and left, I did rent it out for about 3 years. I'm 1,000 miles away. I don't know what's going on. I had a realtor involved, this old lady. She seemed like a nice old lady, but she really wasn't on top of things. People took down a wall, put up a wall in the house. Someone stole the tractor. I mean, the whole place was beat up. The roof was dead. And then I had to kick people out because they stopped paying the rent. And then that was the end of it. I said, I got to get out of this thing. I wound up selling it for $50,000. For $55,000. It took a $32,000 hit. Yeah, $32,500 hit. I took a loss on that one. Don't do people favors. Don't waste your time. There's no reason to do that garbage. You got to think about yourself, your family. You know, if you're a billionaire, you can afford to do favors like that. It won't mess up your bottom line, but when you only got $25,000, don't give it away to somebody else thinking you're going to be a superhero. So anyway, yeah, that's actually the story of Alex. That was the story of Alex. Really? And then actually, I'm going to finish the story by saying she Facebooked me just earlier this year and asking me if I would be a friend. I'm like, listen, I didn't say anything vulgar to her. I just said, listen, you mucked up my whole life. I invested in you as a human being, and you ripped everything that I owned out of, you destroyed everything that I owned. I invested in you as a person to be part of our software company, to grow with us and build the company, and you just ran off with a pastor. I don't know what to say. She ran off with a pastor, and that's about that. And I guess that's what happens in the Bible Belt. Pastor always wins in the end, boy. He's going to take them, bring them down to the church, and I'm going to do some worshiping down there. And they're going to pray to the Lord. And they're going to give their souls up to the Lord and follow His good will and His good words and all the good that the Lord does. And we'll bow down to the Lord and say our prayers, tell Him how much we love Him and how good our lives are with the Lord in it. With the Lord in us, we are grateful. Okay. Well, that didn't turn out so great. So beware of Christians, beware of people in the Bible Belt. I don't know what to say. But I had a terrible experience that cost me everything. So what a beautiful sky, huh? So I'd stay away from that. Anyway, you can give up on the system, you can give up on the people, but never give up on yourself. That's all I have to say.